Hi, welcome to Smartboard 101. My name is Robert Rocha. I'm an instructional technology specialist with the El Paso Independent School District. In our last segment of Smartboard 101, we discussed about how to use your smartboard as an interactive whiteboard, as this like giant board to write and take your notes. But now you may be asking yourself, okay, I've done that, but I'm still not using the board or to its full capabilities. And so now I want to actually take it to the next level and start to figure out and understand how to add interactivity within my lesson to where I can actually have my students come up to the board and move things around and get them more involved in my particular classroom or in that particular lesson that I'm teaching. And so today we're going to talk about some simple ways of adding interactivity. Actually, there's actually 10 ways of adding interactivity, but in today's segment I'm going to show you 2, and in the following segments we'll be showing you more about the different ways of adding that interactivity. Okay, so let me go back and open up that file to my smartboard that I have here. On my desktop I have one file called 10 Simple Ways to Add Interactivity. I'm going to go and open that up and let's see how that looks here. I'm going to go ahead and go to full screen. And here are my 10 Simple Ways to Add Interactivity. The one I'm going to discuss today is going to be called Move to Reveal, and the other one's going to be Erase to Reveal that we're going to show you today. In future segments, we'll talk about table tools and pull tabs and other different ways you can add it. But let's go and try and see what Move to Reveal is. So why don't I click on that? It takes me to this particular file that I have here, this page of my Smart Notebook. And it says, what is the capital of New York State? And so in the classroom, what you would like to do is have the students come up and actually write on here what their different guesses of what the capital of New York would be. So they could simply grab a pen from the actual smartboard pen tray on your smartboard, or they can go and grab from the little dots that appear on my floating toolbar. I can go and choose one of the different pens. So I'm just going to choose a regular pen that's there, and I'm going to go and just take a guess and say that it's Albany, New York. So I can go up here, so you can have a student come up now instead of yourself, have a student come up, grab a pen, and have them write their answer on the board here. So I'm going to type in write in Albany. And I know, but it doesn't come out the best perfect way. My handwriting was never perfect in elementary school or even in college. But there's my answers, Albany School. One thing I have to remember now, this is one of the smart keys of Smartboard, is I have to go back to being a select tool. I have to go back to being a cursor. If I didn't make that selection, if I click on something, I'm still going to be that last tool that I use, which happened to be this one, the actual pen. So once a student has come up to the board and they've wrote in their answer, what they can do now is to check it, is take the picture of Albany and move it up. And so now you can go and compare your answer to see if you have the correct answer. And if not, they can move it back down here, they can try again, and so forth. And so that is called Move to Reveal. So the next step I want to show you is how do we actually build that particular page of adding that level. And you'll find that it's very, very simple. So the first thing I'm going to go and do to show you how this works is to add a page. So I'm going to go here to my little dots again. And hopefully it'll work for me. There we go. And I'm going to go to the very first item that says Insert Next Blank Page. So I insert a blank page here. And I actually need to leave full screen because I want to have access to all the tools, access to all the different tabs that are going to be available for this particular page. So I'm going to click on the monitor here, and I'm going to be back to my full screen, my working environment to create my page. So I have my blank page here. Now the first thing I want to type in is, on my words up here, I want to type in what is the capital of New York. So I can simply just put my cursor here, and I can just go back to my keyboard and just start typing it. That's all I would need to do, just start typing, what is the of New York. Okay. Now, it's kind of small right now, but I want to make this a little bit larger. So what I can do, since I'm in this particular editing feature, I can take my finger and highlight. Let me try that again. Didn't get it all, so let me try that one more time. There I go. And now I can go to my fonts area here. And Smartboard, Smart Screen just off a little bit, so don't panic too much here. And there we go. I'm going to choose about a 48, and I'm going to move that over a little bit. I'm going to double click inside here, and when I do, if I can get this to work, I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit larger. And working with the smart screen is a little bit difficult than actually working with this in your classroom, and so you won't have as much difficulty as I have. And there we go. Maybe I made it a little bit too large. Let me go back and maybe make it a little bit smaller and make that a 36. Try that again. And notice the main thing is the board's not working exactly the way I want it to work, but the main thing is I'm not panicking. And so that's really important in your classroom. When things don't work exactly right, don't panic, because you're the one who's in control of the classroom, you're in control of the board, and so you have the time to actually make it work and to work it out. So don't panic. Just keep working at it, and things are going to work for you. So here, what's the capital of New York? Okay, so I'll just click out of it here. And so now I have my title bar header that's there. And so now I want to go ahead and I now have to type in the actual answer. So let me go back and type in the answer. I'm going to take my cursor, put it down here, and I'm going to type in Albany, New York. Okay, that's about the good size for that. I'm not going to change the size on that. I think we're good. Now the main thing here is I have my different letters here. And notice now that this is a sentence, but everything that's in this wide area, this wide environment, is considered an object. No matter if it's a written text, if it's a picture, everything's an object and can be moved and edited any way that you want to see fit. Now, for instance, here, if I have the kids coming out to the board, I don't want them to actually go and start moving things around, because they can. I want to make sure that what is the capital of New York and Albany, New York, I want to make sure those stay planted on the page and not to move. So I want to be able to lock those features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called a cursor select. And I'm going to go ahead and go to, start here, go across. There I go. And actually that's called the marquee select. I'm sorry, it's called the marquee select. I'm going to the drop-down menu here. Notice when it came up, the editor came up, I have a drop-down menu. It's in the upper right-hand corner of my object. When I click on that, if I can get it to show up, and the smartboard, you have to kind of be right on the smart screen here. And I'm going to go to locking, which is going to be on my third set of items. I'm going to go to locking, and I'm going to choose what's called lock in place. So I'm going to lock that in place. And so now when I click on New York, that sentence, it doesn't move at all. So I'm going to do that again with Albany here, my answer. Do the marquee select, go to the drop-down menu screen, and try that again. Well, and again, things don't always work the way they want. So I'm going to go back to my computer screen up here just real quickly, and I'm going to do it manually and go to locking and go to lock in place. So that was kind of interesting what happened right there. I was trying to do it on the board and building the lesson, but I had to go back to being my actual cursor here. And that's a really kind of a learning tool that we just was able to show you right now. When you're building the lessons, you really want to try to build them on your computer before you actually present them, because some things just don't work the way you want them to exactly at the time that you want them to work. So you can use the computer or you can use the board to create it. Preferably you want to use your computer and actually use the completed page once you're in your classroom. So I have that here. So now that those items are locked, I have to go and find the picture of Albany, New York, of the state of New York. So I'm going to go to what's called my gallery. And if I go to my tabs on my left-hand side of my screen, you're going to see the second tab is a picture frame on that. So if I click there, and now I have access to all the different items within my toolbar as far as my gallery. And there's actually 6,708 items you can choose from to add into your lesson, which that's quite a bit of things to search through. So on the very top here, I have a little search menu. If I click up there and I type in the word New York, go back up here. Actually, I made a mistake. We go and clear all that out first and type that in again. New York. Notice now, once I type that in on my right-hand side, I have two different magnifying glasses, two different search features. The blue magnifying glass, the one that's closest to the search window here, that's going to be searching within my smart notebook files, within that actual gallery itself. The yellow handle magnifying glass allows you to search for things that are actually on your computer screen. Not computer screen, but actually within your documents that you may have on your flash drive if you want to add your own content into Smart Notebook. But I'm going to go ahead and search with what I have within Smart Notebook. So I'm going to click on the blue magnifying glass. Let me try that again. There we go. And now it's searching, and I found 4 different pictures. If I look back down here, I have pictures. I choose drop-down menu, and now there is my picture of New York in the bottom left-hand corner. To add that to my page, there are 2 different ways that I can do that. I can drag and drop, or I can double-click. Both ways will put the item within the white environment area. So I'm going to double-click on it, and lo and behold, it didn't work, and that's okay. So I'm just going to simply go and drag, and now I have Albany there. Okay. Notice now that it actually didn't cover up the answer. So I want to be able to enlarge that picture of Albany. In order to do that, I need to make sure that my editor is up. I notice my editor has got 2 different handles on it. It has a green handle and it has a white handle. The white handle allows you to enlarge. Let me try that again. And probably I need to recalibrate my smartboard here just a few minutes. There we go. Try it one more time. There we go. Made it about that large enough that I needed to use. And there it is. It covered up Albany. Now, the next thing is you can say, well, geez, when the kids come up there, I don't want them to actually see the editing tool that comes up, because I don't want them to go and rotate the different handles that are there or to enlarge it or to make it smaller, because I want to preserve that particular picture. So to do that, again, I would go back to my drop-down menu, and I'm also going to go click on locking like I did for the sentences. But now, when I go to locking, my choice is allow move. So now when I choose allow move, I can't get this to work just quite right. Allow move, there I go. And so now when they click on it, they get the editor shows up, but it's very minimal, and now it has a lock on it. So now they can't change the properties of that particular picture, but they can go ahead and move it around any way they wanted to go and do that. Okay. So now that is how you build the Move to Reveal page. The next item I want to show you about is, let me go back to being my very first page, is Erase to Reveal. Now that one's kind of a really neat item. It kind of really grabs the students' attention quite a bit. They kind of think that you're a magician at some point, because things just magically appear as you erase them. So let me kind of show you how that particular page and slide works. When I go to Erase to Reveal, here I'm using this as a math problem here. So what you could have the students do is go and come up and figure out what that particular answer is, or they can go ahead and write on the side over here, grab a pen, and let me go and grab a pen up here. Grab a pen, and you can write out the number here, 456 times 7, and have them go ahead and answer that particular math problem. Now, in order to check the answer, and this is where it gets really cool, is I can go and grab the actual eraser. I'm going to choose the fat eraser here, and what they can go and do is they can go ahead and with the eraser and erase the answer. And so now they can actually reveal the answer is 3192, 3,192 as my answer. So how do I create that Erase to Reveal page? Actually, it's really simple. All you're really doing is changing the pen color using the Properties tab and changing it from the color black or blue, whatever you chose originally to write the answer, and create that as being white to actually match the white background of the page. So let's go ahead and insert a blank page up here. And I'm going to go and type in a math problem. Let's go ahead and go, I'm going to go back to my computer screen a little bit here, my actual computer. I'm going to type in some numbers. Let's type in 300 times 7. 300, and I'm going to go ahead and return. I'm going to put an X here. And I'm going to go ahead and, actually no, I'm going to go make it put in the front over here, times. Back here, and 1, 2, 3, and 7. I'm going to go back on here. Actually, let's stop right there. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit larger. But remember, my eraser tool here is showing me that I'm still the eraser. So I have to go back to being the actual select tool. Make that larger. Try that again. Doesn't look the best, but it's okay. So now I'm going to make my straight line. There we go. Smartboard just being very picky today. Okay, not the best alignment there that I have here, but on the fly, but it's good to show you what I'm trying to do here. So now I'm going to go ahead and type in my answer, or I can actually write it in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my pen again. This I'm going to be a green pen, and it's going to be 0, 0, and 21. Okay, so now I have my answer, 2,100. So what I'm going to go and do now is I need to lock all those items that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and do my marquee select again. I notice now all the different editing tools come up, all the boxes. I have a box of the first thing I typed in and a box for the things that I actually manually wrote. Now it doesn't matter which drop menu that I use. I'm going to go down here and let me go back up there. Wow, get a little bit of difficulty. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my menu screen. And in actuality, as I'm writing this and I'm doing this, I remembered that we probably need to group those together. I want to put those two items, although they're separate, I want to make them as to one. And if I do that into one picture, I can go to group, and now notice here it changes the marquee select that I have here. So now I've combined the two items or two objects into one object. And so to lock it, I go back again. I got my marquee select. I go to the drop-down menu screen that I have here, and I'm going to go to locking, and again, I'm going to lock that in place. Okay, so we got the problem set up now. So now we have to go and figure out how do I get that to not show that 2100 in green. So I very simply go back to being my pen, and I'm going to keep trying up here. I'm just going to choose any of the pen, doesn't matter. I'm going to choose the green pen that's there. But now I want to change the properties of that pen. So I want to go to the Properties menu screen. And in this particular method here, I can go to the Properties tab in the upper right-hand corner of the A and the little color scheme that's there. And that takes me to the Property tab. Or I can click on the Properties tab over here. Either icon takes you to the same exact place. And so now I'm going to go to what's called Line Style. Once I've selected that, I'm going to choose Line Style. And here, I'm going to go to where it says being the very first one here, which is white. And normally, I get some more tools that allow me to change the actual size of my pen. But for some reason, I'm not getting that particular picture. But that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and start using the finger that I have here, my pen. And let me go back. Something happened here. Make sure I go back to being that pen again. And I think that's what it was. I don't think the key actually took in. So I'm going to go back to my Properties tab. And there it goes. That's the screen that I was looking for. I'm going to go back and choose the white, if I can. And I apologize for this happening here today, but I'm going to go back over here to my computer screen. I'm going to go and choose the white color. And from here, from the white color, I'm going to go and choose a very fat line. So I'm going to choose the one that's the thickest one. I'm going to click on that one. And so now, when I start writing, and it's not doing it. Not sure what is happening today. Make sure I start writing. There it is. Go back to being that one. Here. Going back to all my steps again. made it a fat line. I'm choosing the white as my color. And there it goes. Finally, I got that to work today. And in your classroom, when you're creating this out, you won't have as many problems as I ran into today. And that's because of the way that my smart over screen works. Don't panic. You won't have the same problems in your particular classroom or when you're at home or when you're doing your prep periods writing your particular pieces. So now, notice here, I've erased my answer. So actually, I covered my answer. I haven't erased it yet. I covered it with white ink. So now, if I go back to being my eraser, I can simply go, well, wrong one. And now I can reveal my answer that's there. So as you can see, as we're wrapping up our segment today, you got to see two different ways of adding interactivity, and you also got to see some of the things that happen on your smartboard when they don't work exactly the way you want them to. But notice how, in just a few moments of time, rethinking all the stuff that you did, we're able to rectify the different problems that arose in your classroom. So I hope you enjoyed your segment today on Smartboard 101, and thank you very much for joining us today.